What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the Fiido M1 Pro electric bicycle. This is a bicycle that has 20-inch wheels and also 4-inch wide tires. So the bike does look a bit different than most other bikes out there. This is also a foldable bike, so you can fold it right here in the middle and the handlebar is also foldable. We have a front and rear suspension, of course that will help whenever you go over bumps, but keep in mind that we also have those big tires, so those definitely help way more than the suspension whenever you go over uneven terrain. We have a 500-watt motor that's located in the rear wheel here, and the top speed for this bicycle when you take it out of the box is 25 kilometers an hour. However, the bike is limited to that 25 kilometers an hour based on the regulations for the countries where the bike is being sold. However, you can easily unlock this and then it can go up to 45 kilometers an hour, and there are a bunch of videos on YouTube that shows you how to unlock this, but very simple to do so. As for the range that you can get for one charge, well, it really depends how you are using the bike. The manufacturer says that you can get up to 100 kilometers on a charge, but of course that is if you're using the bike on level 1 and you also pedal. If you don't want to pedal and you're a bit on the lazier side like myself, well, you can get around 35 to 38 kilometers on one charge, but that again, it really depends on the terrain that you're riding on. If you're riding on flat surfaces, if you're riding uphill, how heavy you are, and so on. But we'll talk more about that later on in the video. Alright, so for a super quick unboxing, as you'd expect, the bike comes in a pretty massive box, but we do have a pretty massive bike, and you do have to do a bit of an installation when you take the bike out of the box. So you basically have to put that front wheel and the plastic fenders. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of those plastic fenders, and I feel that the bike looks way cooler without those plastic fenders, but I guess if you're gonna ride over wet surfaces, those are a must, because otherwise you're just gonna spray yourself with mud. So personally, I will remove the plastic mud guards as soon as we are done the video, because the bike does look way cooler without those. Okay, so the bike has a 7-speed setup. We have a Shimano shifter that's right here on the back, and of course to shift gears you have a couple of buttons here to upshift or downshift. No problems whenever you're shifting gears, all the shifts are nice and smooth. So of course you don't necessarily need the electric motor to ride this bicycle. You can just use it as a regular bicycle, and if you downshift a lot, of course you can even climb hills without any electricity being used. The shock on the back here has about a centimeter of travel. That's definitely not that much, but this will help a bit whenever you're going over uneven terrain. But keep in mind that you have those massive tires, and those help the most. You can also make these a bit softer, and the softer they are, the less bumps you're gonna feel on the road, of course. And on the front again we have another suspension. This one has way more travel than the one on the back normally. And there is an adjustment here, even though I haven't actually noticed the adjustment to do much. So even if I change the adjustment, it kind of performs the same. So we do have way more travel here on the front. The pedals on this bicycle are made out of plastic. You can also fold these. It's fairly simple to do so. They are still made out of plastic. I would have liked to see some metal pedals, but you can easily remove these and install whatever pedals you want. On the front and on the back, we also have pretty big disc brakes. Let me just turn the bike around. These are actually bigger than most bicycles that I got to try. These are mechanical disc brakes, so you have a cable, so the harder you pull on these levers, the more you're gonna brake, and you can definitely lock these brakes if you pull on those levers hard enough, and the braking power is also really good. Now, after riding the bike for a couple of weeks, I did notice that the brakes are starting to squeak a bit. I did see this with other bikes in the past, so there is a bit of noise whenever you're braking, but the braking performance is not affected by that in any way. Like any other bike out there, the seat is also adjustable in height, so you can put it higher or lower, and it's fairly comfortable as well. So we have quite a bit of padding here, so it's comfortable for longer periods of time. Now, the handlebar here is not adjustable in height. I would have loved to see this being adjustable in height, but however, you can fold this. So to fold this, you basically pull on this right here, and then the handlebar folds this way. This helps whenever you're folding the bike, and actually I can show you that right now. So let me turn the bike around so you can see better. So we have the folding mechanism right here in the center. This is kind of like a safety thing. Then you're gonna pull on this part here, and then you can easily fold the bicycle like this. And whenever you're done with that, you can just put this back. So if you need to take this in a car, if you take it to the office, or if you don't have enough room at home, you can fold it and make it a bit smaller. This bike also weighs 25 kilos, so it is a fairly heavy bike, so you're not going to be able to carry this for extended periods of time. The battery pack is also located in the frame here, and you can actually remove the battery pack if you fold the bike. So you can see the battery pack right here, and you can actually pull this out. Now underneath the battery pack we have a key. I'm not sure if you can actually see the key right here, but this is kind of like the ignition key. You can turn off the bike with this key here, and then the bike is not gonna turn on. I mean, you can still pedal, but you're not gonna have the motor happening. So you can remove that battery from the frame, and you can actually charge the battery at home if you want, but you can also charge it in the bicycle. We have the charging port on this side of the bicycle, and it takes about 7 to 8 hours to charge this from 0 to 100 with the charger that comes in the box. That charger does have a fan inside, so whenever you are charging the bike, you're gonna hear that fan going inside the charger, but the charger doesn't get hot like other chargers that I've seen in the past. On the front here, just above that plastic mud guard, we also have the headlight. You can turn this on and off, of course. During the day, it's not that bright to be seen that well, but at night it's powerful enough so it can light up the path ahead of you. And we also have the horn in the light there, and this is how it sounds. So pretty loud horn as well. Now, unfortunately, there is no rear light. I find that a bit disappointing. There is something that you can attach the back of the bike, but it's not a light. So you're gonna have to buy your own light so you can be a bit safer whenever you're riding at night, basically. The handlebar here is nice and wide, so whenever you're riding you don't feel cramped. The grips here don't move at all, but I wish you would be able to raise the handlebar a bit, because it would make the riding position a bit more comfortable. Like it is on that bike, you can actually raise the handlebar. Now, the brake levers, of course, are here. As I mentioned earlier, these are mechanical brakes. So you have the buttons for the shifter here, and then you have the accelerator on the right-hand side here. So this bike, you don't necessarily have to pedal. You can just accelerate from here, and the bike can just go by itself. But if you want to save some power, of course, if you pedal as well and the bike just assists you whenever you're pedaling, you can ride for longer periods of time on one charge. On the left hand side here we also have the screen. This is a fairly small screen, and depending how the sun hits the screen, you can see it better or not that great. This time, because the sun is right there, I can barely see the screen, so it really depends where you're positioned. On the screen there you can basically see how much battery you have, the speed that you're riding in, and the mode that you're riding in. So there are 3 modes of assistance. Of course, 1 is the lowest, 3 is the most assistance that the bike will give you. So of course this is fairly simple to use. You turn on the bike, you select what mode of assistance you want, and then you go pedaling. As soon as you start pedaling, the bike will start assisting you and basically keep you going, so you don't have to put that much effort into pedaling. And next I'm just gonna get that camera, I'm gonna put it on my chest here, and I'll take you for a little ride so I can show you exactly how the bike rides, how it accelerates, and so on. Alright, so let me show you how riding this goes. So this is the power button right here. The screen comes on, and from here you can switch modes. I think we're just gonna go in mode number 2. Here, of course, we have the shifter, and this is the accelerator. So first I'm going to show you how it starts with the accelerator. So you don't have to pedal, you basically hold this and it keeps going. You can also start by pedaling. So next we're going to start pedaling, and you're going to see how the bike starts helping you basically. So let's start pedaling. So as you've seen, it started pushing me, basically helping me ride. Now we are in the 5th speed. And basically the bike can keep you constant without you actually having to do that much work. And you can also just accelerate from here. So next I'm gonna go look for a steeper hill just so I can show you how the bike performs whenever you're riding on hills. Since we have different speeds, of course, you can just lower the speed and make that climb easier. So let me find the hill and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have a bit of uphill riding here. I'm not sure how well you can actually see that. On the camera, I'm basically on the 3rd speed and I'm using the level of assistance number 3. So I'm gonna start pedaling. We have quite a bit of an incline here. But as you can see, I don't really have to put that much effort into pedaling. So the bike kind of takes me up by itself. I'm just pedaling slowly. So on these kind of hills, there is absolutely no problem riding a bike like this one. That 500-watt motor on the back definitely helps. Not to mention that if you want to pedal, it will go even quicker and easier. So that's how going uphill works with this electric assisted bicycle. Okay, I have another quick climb up ahead just so I can show you how this does. So quite a bit of a hill here. I'm not sure if you can actually see that on the camera, but the hill is quite steep up here. I'm in the 3rd gear and the assistance mode number 3. And I don't really have to put that much work into pedaling, as you can see. And I guess this keeps going up. And the terrain here isn't that smooth, as you can see for yourself, but the ride is quite comfortable, mostly because of those big tires and the front and rear suspension. So nice and easy riding like this when compared to a regular bike that's not electric. And we are still going up. Here it's getting a bit harder to pedal. You can also accelerate when you want. So yeah, really easy to ride uphill with a bike like this. And I guess I can also show you how we go down and how much noise the brakes make, because I do have to hold the brakes on this hill. As for the off-road capabilities, I mean, this is not exactly an off-road bicycle, but it is fairly comfortable over uneven terrain. We have a section around here that's a bit more bumpy, just so you can see how that suspension does. So I have a few bumps here, and the ride is pretty comfortable as well. And I might as well show you the stopping power. So pretty good stopping power as well. So there you have it. This is the Fiido M1 Pro electric bike. Now, this is a bike that looks very unique, mostly because of those fat tires that we have on the front and on the back. And a bike that always turns heads. So wherever you go, people look after you because the bike does look quite different. As I said, I'm personally going to remove the plastic fenders that we have on the front and on the back. I feel the bike will look better that way. But I wouldn't call this an off-road bike. I mean, sure, you can definitely go over uneven surfaces, but I wouldn't take this on the mountain. That's what I'm saying. But for in town and whatever you have, wherever you have some uneven surfaces, it will do good. But it's not exactly an off-road bike. So yeah, this is the Fiido M1 Pro. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.